Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Social Quiztancing. A little bit of trivia to keep your brain entertained until we can see you at the library once again. If you're going by the library for curbside checkout, which is in full swing, don't forget to pick up your summer reading calendar if you haven't yet. And if you've been doing your summer reading calendar, don't forget to come and redeem it for your prizes. If you're a teen or an adult, you can also do the reading bingo. And when you complete all of those tasks and get like a reading bingo, you can get a gift certificate for a free ice cream cone at Moo Moo's Ice Cream. So very cool. As usual today, we have 15 questions, 5 general knowledge questions, 5 connections questions, and 5 questions in a special round that changes every week. So let's start. Let's get going with the general knowledge questions. Question number 1. The phrase black swan describes an unusual or surprising event or thing. However, for thousands of years, it meant something very different. What was it, and why did it change? Okay. Number 2. What punctuation mark's name means together in Greek? What means together in Greek? Number 3. Shakespeare wrote many plays about kings, but only one queen appears in the title of one of his plays. Whom? Number 4. What word means immeasurably small, yet its first 8 letters mean immeasurably large? What word means immeasurably small, but its first 8 letters mean immeasurably large? And number 5, ferrets played an important part in the wedding of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. What did they do? So what did ferrets do in that royal wedding? That was important. All right, now we're going to move on to the connections round, in which I give you 4 apparently random clues, and you tell me what the hidden connection is. So if I gave you John, Paul, George, and Scarab, you would tell me that they are all kinds of beetles. Okay, so give yourself 5 points if you get it after a single clue. Give yourself 3 points if you get it after 2 clues. Give yourself 2 points if you get it after 3 clues. And give yourself 1 point if you get it after all the clues are there. Or give yourself however many points you think you deserve for any of the questions, because it doesn't really matter. They're just here for fun. Okay. So first one. Kuril Kamchatka, Philippine, Tonga, and Mariana. Kuril Kamchatka, Philippine, Tonga, Mariana. What connects those 4 clues? Next, Makara, Selkie, Kappa, and Kelpie. Makara, Selkie, Kappa, and Kelpie. What are those 4 things have in common? Next one. A, 101. B, 1 billion. C, 1 octillion. And D, 100. What's the connection between those 4 clues? Next one. Kathy, Rachel's boss, Janice, and Monica. What's the connection between those 4 clues? And lastly, in our connections round, which I think might be a little harder than usual today, Pareidolia, End of History Illusion, Ikea Effect, and Dunning-Kruger Effect. So you tell me what the connection is between those 4 things. Now we have a fun special round today. In this round, I'm going to read you 1-star reviews for 1-star Amazon reviews for classic novels. And you tell me what classic novel this person hated. Okay? So these are 1-star Amazon reviews for classic novels. You have to tell me what the novel is that they're referring to. Okay. Number 1. This book is mostly meandering idiocy and a loosely tied together story about a man watching another man obsessed with stuff. This was supposed to be a textbook example of foreshadowing, but what he really does is just beat you over the head with a sledgehammer to tell you the things that are going to happen after 700 years worth of reading what color the inside of a whale's head is, over and over and over again. Hint, he doesn't know. Number 2. This is a tough book to read unless you understand several languages and are on LSD. I may have 30 or 40 more years to live, so maybe I'll get through it. What book is that a 1-star review for? Number 3. Going into this, I knew it would be weird. I just didn't expect it to be that weird. I understand it's a child fantasy story, and that nonsense is allowed to happen, but I feel like it sometimes went too far and just made no sense for the sake of making no sense. What book does that refer to? Classic novels. Number 4. I believe that he should not be in the Hero Hall of Fame nomination committee. He killed innocent people, cheated on his wife, and ate his friends. I believe that says it all about who he really is. Classic work was that. And now, lastly, how can anybody like this book? Whoever said this is the best classic ever written must be truly brain dead. What could be enjoyable about a book that primarily consists of a guide on A, how to cut grass, B, how to hunt bear, and C, how to abandon your kid for a gigolo? If I wanted all that stuff, I would have read Farmer's Almanac. Okay, so all you have to do is tell me what books those are 1-star reviews for. Now, I'm going to read you the answers for all of these questions. If you do not want to hear the answers yet, feel free to stop and come back to this later. So this is just your fair warning that I'm about to read you all the answers to all these questions right now. Okay, my first question was, the phrase black swan describes an unusual or surprising event or thing. However, for thousands of years it meant something very different. What was it and why? Well, a black swan now describes an unusual or surprising event or thing, but for a very long time, for thousands of years, a black swan meant something that can't possibly exist. And what changed is they discovered black swans when, at least the West discovered black swans, in Australia. And so black swan went from meaning a thing that can't possibly exist to a thing that is very surprising that it exists. Which is a fun little turn in the language. Number 2, what punctuations mark means together in Greek? Appropriately enough, of course, it is the hyphen. Hyphen. Number 3, Shakespeare wrote many plays about kings, but only one queen appears in the title of a play. Did you figure it out? That is Cleopatra from Antony and Cleopatra. She appeared earlier in the quiz because she only has one great-great-great-grandfather. I think it was great-great-great-grandfather, whereas most of us have, or great-great-great-great-grandfather, whereas most of us have something like 72 or 32, something like that. Incestuous line of the Ptolemies. All right, number 4. What word means immeasurably small, yet its first 8 letters mean immeasurably large? That is infinitesimal. Infinitesimal. It begins with infinite. It's immeasurably large, infinitesimal, it's immeasurably small. All right, and now the question you've been all waiting for. Ferrets played an important part in the wedding of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. What did they do? And the answer is even better than the question. They had little special harnesses, and they were used to run television cables for the outdoor coverage. So they'd be attached to a little television cable with a little special harness, and they'd scurry along. The thought of that just makes my life really so excited about that, to learn that thing. Okay, now we get to the connections round. So the first connection I gave you was Coral Kamchatka, Philippine, Tonga, and Mariana. The last one, I think, gave it away. These are all oceanic trenches. I believe they're in order of depth, going down, deepest. I think they're the 4 deepest trenches in order of depth. Cool. Next one we have Makara, Selkie, Kappa, and Kelpie. These are all lake monsters. And last week we had another question about lake monsters like Nessie and Champ and stuff like that, giant lake monsters. These are all folk monsters that come out of lakes disguised as a human and lure people back into the water. Kelpies and Selkies are from Scotland, Kappa is from Japan, and Makara I think is from India. But very similar stories. Okay. A, 101, B, 1 billion, C, 1 octillion, and D, 100. This is a fiendish one. So in each of these examples, the letter it begins with, this is the first number, the lowest number that includes that letter. So 101 is the first number going up that you'll find that it has the letter A in it. 1 billion is the first letter that has 1 B in it. 1 octillion is the first number to have a C in it, and 100 is the first number to have a D in it. Give yourself a lot of points if you got that one right, I think. And we have Kathy, Rachel's boss, Janice, and Monica. These are all Chandler's girlfriends from Friends. Chandler's girlfriend. We span high and low culture here in this quiz. And lastly, we have pareidolia, end of history illusion, Ikea effect, and the Dunning-Kruger effect. Dunning-Kruger effect has been in the news a lot lately. These are all cognitive biases. So these are all, terms for cognitive biases. Pareidolia is the brain's tendency to see faces everywhere, to see man in the moon, all of that stuff, to see sort of human faces where they don't really appear. End of history illusion is to think that that you have undergone all the change that you're going to, so that you're sort of the person that you will be for the rest of your life and won't undergo change, but the change was in the past. Ikea effect is that you're more likely to value something that you put together yourself. Having had Ikea furniture, I don't see how this is the case, but, And the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is in the news a lot lately, is the tendency of lower-skilled people to believe that they know more than they do. They're more skilled than they are, and higher-skilled people to believe that they are less skilled or have less expertise than they actually do. So, that's Dunning-Kruger effect. Cognitive biases. Okay. Then I read you some 1-star Amazon reviews of classic books, and you had to determine what book it was. So the first one was about this book is mostly meandering idiocy. It was supposed to be a textbook example of foreshadowing, but what he really does is just beat you over the head with a sledgehammer to tell you things that are going to happen after 700 years worth of reading what color the inside of a whale's head is over and over. That is, of course, Moby Dick. Number 2, this is a tough book to read unless you understand several languages and are on LSD. I may have 30 or 40 more years to live, so maybe I'll get through it. That was the wonderful Ulysses. Okay. Number 3, going into this, I knew it would be weird, I just didn't expect it to be that weird. I understand it's a child fantasy story, and the nonsense is allowed to happen, but I feel it sometimes went too far and just made no sense for the sake of making no sense. That was, as you probably guessed, Alice in Wonderland, which did make no sense for the sake of making no sense. Number 4, I believe that he should not be in the Hero Hall of Fame nomination committee. He killed innocent people, cheated on his wife, and ate his friends. I believe that says it all about who he really is. He being Odysseus in the Odyssey. We have Ulysses and we have the Odyssey. Look at that. And lastly, how can anybody like this book? Whoever said this is the best classic ever written must be truly brain dead. What could be enjoyable about a book that primarily consists of a guide on how to cut grass, how to hunt bear, and how to abandon your own kid for a gigolo? If I wanted all that stuff, I would have read Farmer's Almanac. That is Anna Karenina. I don't think Farmer's Almanac generally gives you advice on how to abandon your own kid for a gigolo, but, you know, maybe I was reading a different Farmer's Almanac. It's been a few years. Things have changed. Okay, thank you for joining us this week. That was lots of fun. We will see you, of course, next week at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. As always, stay safe, wear a mask, have fun, be kind to others, and take care of yourself. Have a great week. Bye.